Hey everybody, it's Tiffany T. I'm here with Dino Gomez and Ellis San Jose, and we're so grateful and fortunate to be having a little bit of his time, and just wanted to give him a chance to share a little bit about what he's doing, where he's going, who he is. And this guy's amazing. He's a real estate broker, investor, financial advisor, author, speaker. Gosh, he's got the whole entire resume. He's also really passionate. He's an advocate for working with teens and youth for financial advisory, so financial literacy as well. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Ellis, for coming on. And why don't you just go ahead and tell us who you are and what you're doing, what you're up to, the many things.
You're very welcome. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I mean, as you say, it's very, very stimulating things that happen in my life. I like to share the knowledge and the information I've gained over the years in understanding, finance and investing, and how that can tie into, creating financial peace and financial freedom. So I consider myself a student first before teacher. I seek out as much information as I can that's relevant and valid, that can really, help change people's lives financially.
Awesome.
Very cool. And, it's cool that, because Ellis, you have such this incredible professional resume of everything that you have your hands in, what you're up to, and what you're doing. And that's so interesting right off the bat that you say you're a student first and foremost. Before we kind of jump into our set questions, I have to immediately ask you, do you think part of the reason that you've achieved so much success has to do with the fact that you're consistently open to learning from others, or just learning, kind of growing yourself as an individual?
I consider myself very fortunate to have just amazing mentors and teachers in my life that have come at absolutely the right time, that I've just turned into a sponge and try to soak up every little thing that they say and that they teach. So I think that it's been very kind to me, because I have been very fortunate to have good people in my life.
That always pays off.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, great, Ellis. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to get your feedback and insight on a couple questions here that actually aren't thrown around too often. So we'll start with question one here, Ellis. What would be your perception of happiness?
Oh gosh, that is a question that I think about a lot. I think for me, happiness is when I experience just deep love and passion for what I'm doing. Just being really in the moment with things, and knowing that I'm in alignment with what's true for me, and just having all my thoughts and all my actions being lined up together, so that all those things are in harmony with each other. If that makes sense.
Absolutely, like being in the now is
yeah.
Important.
Well, it's awesome too. You say you love what you do,
mm-hmm.
and so being able to do what you love every day. That's that's a luxury a lot of people don't have. That's so cool to see that you're kind of following your passions.
Yeah, I think it's important to continually strive, because just because it's my passion today doesn't mean that there's more things that can unfold and that I can discover. So that's what I really find very exciting and motivating, to be able to just be observant of what's happening, changes that are available to me.
That's one of the blessings for being open-minded.
Yeah.
And being a student as well. Okay, awesome. So the next question is, Ellis, what is your perception or understanding of success?
Oh gosh, for me, success is knowing that I'm in a place where I'm helping others achieve their goals, while I'm also kind of just discovering what it is that I feel that I'm meant to do. There's this word called flow. So when you're in this place of flow, time stands still, and you don't look at the clock, and you're just, I'm sure everybody has experienced this, where you're working on something that you just absolutely are completely passionate about, and you look up at the clock and say, oh my God, have I been working on this for, this long? That's when I feel that I'm most successful. And then when I'm helping others achieve whatever their dreams or whatever their passions are as well, it makes me feel like, yeah, I think I think I'm in the right path for what success is.
That's great.
I love that you used the term flow there, and then you gave that example that hours pass and you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And I know exactly what you're talking about. It happened to me last night.
You really?
Looked up at the clock, thought, hey, I'll sneak in some extra work before crashing out, going to bed. And then all of a sudden you look at the clock and 3 hours have gone by. It's 2 a.m.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work anymore. You know, you are working, but you know, it's funny because when I did say flow, you had a big smile on your face, Dino, because that's when I knew exactly when we were kind of connecting on, yeah, when you're in flow, it's such a place of happiness and joy.
I have to ask you real quick, Ellis, flow too. I like that word a lot. I feel like that's a terminology that maybe a surfer would use or something like that when they're really locked in the zone. Right. Maybe athletes refer it to being like in the zone, but
yeah.
That resonates with me the way you described that there. So well, very cool. Well, then let's see. We'll move on to the third question here, which is, and this one is deep. It's a little bit trickier.
Okay.
But what would you say is the most profound thing or experience that you've had so far in life?
Oh my God, that is a challenging one. Been so many. What comes to mind is how impactful and important listening and language are in building connections and building relationships. That may sound a little vague, but you know, if I can maybe give an example. Many years ago, I was exposed to this training called Nonviolent Communication, and what it is, it's about really releasing a lot of your perceptions as best you can. I know we're imperfect, we're human, and really listening to another person. So, for example, like one of my kids, I have 3 kids. So, say my son is really upset about something, you know, say something broke. So the first thing you want to say, a lot of times, at least for me, is like, you know, stop crying. You know, what's the problem? What's going on, right? You know, you don't need to cry. But what I've learned was that if you just listen to what is it that's upsetting them, and I'll say, oh, you're really upset that your toy broke. Yeah, that must be really difficult. You know, can you tell me more about that? And what will happen is this amazing energy just shifts, and it becomes where they're able to say, hey, you know, I really feel like I'm being listened to, and it brings down all that other energy that surrounds it, and you build a connection. So when I do that, you know, if I'm lucky enough to remember that, and I just really listen, and I use language that is very open and inviting, it shifts everything. And I've used it in sales. I've used it in when I do lecturing at UCLA or wherever. You know, I may not know a whole lot about the audience, and you know, that's one of the things you're supposed to do when you speak, is know your audience. But just by listening and asking questions, I like to go to, if I'm going to lecture for a class, I come about 10, 15 minutes early, and I just start sitting down with somebody. I start chatting, and I try to find out, what's going on in this person, because there's all these things that are going on in a person's life, and for me to expect them to want to listen to what I have to say without me inviting them to tell me what's going on with them, I think that has profoundly changed the way that I see things.
I couldn't agree more. It's like you're getting on their level, I mean, especially with children. That's very smart of you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Well, it's funny. Sometimes people also, they want to express themselves, and they want to know that you actually care about them and know them and their situation.
You're exactly right, Dino. They want to know. Everybody wants to be heard, and unless they feel heard, there's this hurdle that until you can do that, you can't really connect up.
It's such a simple equation too. I need to start implementing and practicing that one myself, because I'm not sure I'm the best at doing that. I probably, when I think about it, I would probably first relate whatever is bothering them to myself, which it should really be about them if they have an issue. So that you're enlightening us here today, Ellis. dropping knowledge bombs and everything else, life wisdom here.
So I understand that you have an event coming up September 3rd through the 5th in Orange County, right?
Yeah, two of my mentors that I have learned so much from, they come into town once a year and they teach this class called Financial Freedom Principles. And when I took this class, gosh, many moons ago, it completely shifted my, and keep in mind, I had been investing for a very long time before I met them, but they turned my brain around completely. And what's making me really excited about this class is that I'm going to bring my oldest son with me for the first time. He's 14 years old, and I want to hopefully give him some of the tools that he will need to really take control of his financial life, and hopefully use those tools to live a more fulfilling life, so that he can not be a slave to a lot of things that other people are when it comes to finances. I don't want him to see finances as a mystery. I want him to say, okay, I get it, I understand.
Yeah, I think that's really smart, and you're so inspiring. I mean, even just as a parent, because it's so important, kids especially. I mean, I'm not that far behind I went to high school like 16 years ago or something, but still they don't teach us like life lessons, or like how to manage a bank account, or it's all just like, okay, grab a credit card, like, charge up a bunch of debt. Like, they don't teach you the truth of the financial world. And it's so awesome that you're doing that, especially not only with your children, but, being a mentor in other people's lives that are young too.
It's funny because I said, okay, if you go, you got to bring a friend with you. So my son is going to bring a friend, and we're gonna make a nice 3-day weekend out of it.
That's so cool. Where in Orange County is it?
It's in Santa Ana.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I was lucky. My parents taught me some finance stuff, but not, I don't think, at the same age, at that young. Kind of like Tiffany alluded to, there's no formal education for that, and it's invaluable.
Yeah, Dino, it's a travesty, I think, to have that piece missing in the education of our children. And if you can get them in positive habits early on, it really can transform lives. I mean, I've seen so many. When I was in college, I remember one of the first things I remember was walking on campus and all these tables where they're trying to get you to sign up for credit cards. And I can't tell you how many people I knew that had to declare bankruptcy in their 20s because of that habit of not understanding how interest rates can work against you instead of for you. So, or compounding interest rather. So yeah, that class is that I'm really looking forward to it. And if you want to find out more about it, you can go to my friend's website. It's www.garyjohnston.com, GaryJohnston.com. GaryJohnston.com. Very cool. That's it.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at that page, because I'm definitely curious. That's little things like that. That'll make a massive difference for your son and whoever his lucky friend is that doesn't know it yet, probably.
I've turned so many people onto this class. It's amazing. I met this attorney, I want to say like in 2007 or 8, and he was really struggling because if you know any attorneys, when they're first starting in their career, they're working so hard. He said, I just want to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Well, fast forward now to 2016, because of working with him and because of the people I've introduced him to, he doesn't have to work full time anymore. He still does some legal work, but he doesn't have that daily kind of grind that a lot of attorneys have to go through. And just to see, I was on Facebook and I was so jealous because he was in Spain with his wife for a week. I was like, wow, that is so amazing. And that's what really, when you talk about feeling happiness, success, when you see others experiencing life at its fullest, it's really fulfilling for me.
I was going to bring that fact up too. Not only, since you're an advocate and really passionate for working with youth and teaching them financial literacy, it goes way beyond the financial aspect, because you're introducing like, hey, you can not have to live the life of, running around on a hamster wheel and trading time for dollars. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to like offend anybody. If that works for you, that's awesome. But just like giving them hope and pursuing their dreams and what they're passionate about from the start. And a lot of us just have to learn it the hard way.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of lessons there. I could, share a lot with my transformation. But yeah, for sure, it's like, one of the things that I always ask people is, what would your life be like if you could choose? How would you spend your time? How would you spend your day? How would you spend your joy, your your tears, what would it be involved in? Because it's not always easy stuff, right? Sometimes the most fulfilling things have a lot of disappointment attached to them, but what would you do? And once you see them kind of connect and light up with it, it's like, well, in my mind, I'm like, how can I help them get that? Whatever little thing I can do, how can I help them get that?
It's awesome. Very inspiring.
Right, and I just have to add in there too, as you introduce, your son and his friend to that type of training at that age. It's not only teaching him about, helping him with his financial future and understand how that works, but it's also opening these doors to him that you can go out there and learn just about anything now. And there's 1,000 different resources for it. Whatever you decide you want to learn, the internet's there. There's books, there's audios, there's seminars, there's coaches.
Absolutely.
Everybody can go out there and basically learn whatever it is they want to do, which is cool. So that also opens up the avenue for them to realize that, hey, you can do this in any field, and learn a bunch of other cool stuff outside of school or something that's more interesting.
You bring a really wonderful, because one of the things my kids hate when I say this, but so when they say, "Oh, Dad, I'm bored," and I say that's impossible. So much you can do right now that's at the tip of your fingertips. It's impossible to be bored in this day and age. Impossible.
The last time I heard somebody say they were bored was, and I swear to you, it was only about a year ago. It was one of my buddies.
Yeah.
And he shot me a text message. Oh, what are you guys up to this weekend? You want to have a barbecue? I've responded with what I'm up to, and he goes, yeah, I'm just really bored. And I was like, how do you spell that word?
Right.
I forget, how do you spell that word? Like, seriously. It's
right? It's like...
So, well, very cool. Well, Ellis, we really, really appreciate you sitting down here and joining us today. We've asked you some questions that aren't discussed much almost anywhere. And so they're challenging questions, and you shed some great wisdom and insight with us on your perception of happiness and success, and the most profound thing you've learned, and how you're passing it on to other generations, your friends, and seeing them fulfill in their own lives, which is incredible. And so what we wanted to do here as we kind of wrap up is, first off, let's go ahead and confirm where's the best place for people listening in. If they want to follow you or get in touch with you, where's the best place for them to go ahead and connect with you?
Yeah, the best place is to follow me on Twitter, and that my handle there is FIBI USA. So that stands for investors by investors. That's FIBI. It's an organization I co-founded in 2007, just basically about how to create a community of people that are interested in improving their lives through being better educated in investments and in financial literacy. And we started that from I laugh because it was in a little tiny coffee shop where it was myself and my partner. That was the first meeting. Only 2 people showed up, and I put it out on Meetup and everything. And now we have like 17,000 members all over the place, and like 12 chapters. Yeah, so it really took off. So that's probably the best way to connect with me is, really simple, is FIBI USA.
I remember the first night I met you, I just thought that was so inspiring. Like, this one guy had a vision and a goal and took it that far. I mean, that's pretty courageous, especially to think. With Meetup, you never know what's going to happen. So,
and I can't take all the credit, because what happened was I had the vision and I found somebody else with a very similar vision, and we just kind of joined forces, and then it just grew from there. So. Yeah.
Well, still though, you had the vision, but you also had the knowledge that partnering with somebody is smart, and that's a problem. A lot of entrepreneurs have to do everything by themselves or whatever. So I mean, 100% kudos to you and your partner Ellis. And for everybody listening in, to recap there, you can connect with Ellis on Twitter at FIBIUSA is the correct username. Is that right, Ellis?
Yeah, that's correct. And if you're ever curious and you want to drop into one of our meetings, if you ever go to meetup.com, just do a search for FIBI, and then you'll find out where your closest chapter is. And we have really great chapter leaders that lead these meetings all over the place. So if you ever want to drop in there and are curious, please come by.
All right, so also on Meetup. And Tiffany, do you have any last remarks or closing statements here?
No, Ellis, thank you so much for giving us your time. I know you're a really busy person, and I really appreciate it, and it's such an honor to be able to have you a part of our series. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. The pleasure is all mine.
All right. Well, for everybody listening in, thanks so much for tuning in today for another episode of Inspiring People Doing Amazing Things. Until next time, I appreciate you guys being here, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Take care.